Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk to you about how women only find vulnerability unattractive if there is neediness attached to it. I happen to follow a lot of red pill and manosphere content creators out there, and I've noticed in these communities there's this idea that a lot of them basically hold, saying that women find vulnerability in men unattractive. And I do believe that for the most part that is true for most men, men who aren't secure in themselves, men who have some form of neediness. But there is an exception to this rule, and that's what I want to talk about in this video because of the fact that this idea is held by so many men in these communities, and it's just a bit more nuanced than a lot of these content creators like to talk about, and maybe they aren't even aware of this side of it. I don't know why they don't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it in this video. So, women will only find your vulnerability as a man unattractive if there is neediness behind it. Otherwise, they actually find vulnerability attractive because it shows that a man is confident and secure in himself. So what do I mean here? Well, a man showing vulnerability with neediness attached to it would be kind of like a guy who is attached to a specific outcome, meaning he wants to land the woman, he wants to basically obtain her, whether or not that means in a relationship setting or he wants her in bed, doesn't matter. But if he's attached to a specific outcome, there is going to be some neediness behind his behavior because now all of his behavior is pointing towards that one outcome. That inevitably creates neediness because what ends up happening if he doesn't get the outcome that he desires? So attachment to outcome is a big problem. But another thing here is a lot of men care way too much what women think of them, right? A lot of guys, when they go on a date with a woman, they aren't thinking, do I like her? Most men will be thinking, does she like me? And if not, what can I do to make her like me? How can I impress her? That is the default that most men take. There's also a ton of neediness behind that way of thinking because the truly confident, secure man doesn't care at all what she thinks of him. And that doesn't mean that he's like cold and he just is shut off from her and her emotions and doesn't care about her. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means he is so grounded and secure in himself that her opinion of him won't affect him at all. He was not going to care if she thinks he's weak or beta or strong or confident or alpha. He doesn't care because whatever he thinks of himself, that's what he'll focus on. He's not going to care what anyone else thinks of him, including the pretty woman that he's taking on a date. So, you do not want to care what women think of you. I know it's difficult, but you need to work on that. Get to a place where you value your own worth and your own opinion of yourself more than any opinion a woman will have of you. And when you get to that place, there won't be that neediness behind you. So that, yet again, will be another thing that will affect whether or not you can be vulnerable with a woman. And another example I have here, this is a huge one. Feeling any shame, especially when you're being vulnerable. A man who feels shame when he's being vulnerable, immediately there's neediness there. And a woman will pick up on that right away and it will, oh my God, it will scare her away. She will find that incredibly unattractive. So, I know it can be a bit difficult to be vulnerable without shame because there's so much of societal conditioning and bull crap out there that makes men feel shame for being vulnerable because it makes you weak. Bullshit. It only makes you weak if you give a crap what other people think of you. But if you don't, it makes you strong as fuck because now you're willing to show the true, real, raw side of you without caring what other people think of you. It's like when, what is a good example? It would be kind of like if a bully is trying to mess with a kid that, he's trying to bully a kid while they're giving a speech in front of the class and he's making jokes about that kid. Well, if that kid just looks at the bully and just starts amping up the jokes that the bully is making, like meaning if that kid starts making fun of himself without any shame, without caring what anybody else in the room thinks of him, suddenly everybody in that room is going to think that the kid who's supposedly getting bullied is a badass because he's standing up to the bully without caring what anybody in the class thinks of him, even though the bully is trying to make a fool of him in front of everyone. So there's power behind not feeling any shame, behind just being vulnerable and not caring what people think about you. So if you practice those things, I guarantee you, you will be able to show vulnerability to women, and it won't be a negative thing. It won't be something that they find unattractive, because women only find vulnerability unattractive when there is that neediness, that shame, or that caring way too much what she thinks of him behind it. But a man who is secure, grounded in himself, who doesn't care what other people think of him, he can be vulnerable in front of women and they won't be turned off by it. I mean, think about it. There are examples of men who, in the red pill community, they would call alphas, who are able to be vulnerable with women and it doesn't affect their ability to keep those women around them, right? There you go, right then and there. That's a counterexample to this ridiculous belief that you should never be vulnerable around women. You can be. You just have to work on yourself beforehand. Because if you don't put that work in and you be vulnerable around women, yeah, they probably will find it unattractive because you may have some of that neediness, you may have that shame, you may be caring way too much what she thinks of you. So, yeah, that will probably shoot you in the foot. Now, when I say being vulnerable here, I don't quite mean to the extent where you're literally gonna cry in front of her. But I mean, even in that case, there are going to be situations where if you are grounded and secure enough, you could get away with crying in front of a woman and she won't look down on you for it. But you need to be like super strong to do that. And I mean like mentally strong and physically strong. You just need to be super alpha to get away with that, because there is that ridiculous stigma. It's unfortunate that it exists, that a crying man is a weak man. So yeah, you need to be kind of an outlier to be able to get away with that one. But for the most part, you can be vulnerable in front of women. Just be secure, just be grounded, just be confident. Stop caring what she thinks of you. I mean, there is a reason why women say they actually want vulnerability. And I know you guys are probably going to say, but Josh, we shouldn't listen to what women say they want, because what they want and what they actually go after are very different things. Yeah, they are. They truly are. But there is actually that case where women will find your vulnerability attractive. But, I mean, I'm being a broken record here. You have to be secure and you have to be grounded in yourself. You cannot have neediness, you cannot have shame. So it is kind of something that most men won't achieve, and that's why so many guys say you shouldn't be vulnerable in front of your woman, or women, whatever you're up to. But that is true for the most part for the average guy, because the average guy is not secure in himself. He doesn't have a lack of neediness. Wait, did I word that correctly? He has an abundance of neediness, pretty much, and he will have that shame, and yeah, he'll care way too much what she thinks of him. So the average guy won't be able to do this, and that's probably where this saying comes from. Because most guys cannot get away with being vulnerable in front of women because they haven't worked on themselves enough to earn the right. But if you have worked on yourself, do not be afraid to be vulnerable in front of your woman. Just make sure that when you do it, you don't care what she thinks of you for it, that you don't shame yourself, you don't feel any guilt, no shame, none of that crap, and you're just doing it because it's real to you in that moment. It's who you are, it's what you're feeling, and you don't care what the world thinks of you for. You're just being you. In that case, boy, women will find it incredibly attractive because it shows confidence. It shows that you don't give a fuck what people think of you, nor should you. I mean, I've had moments like that with women, and, well, just with people in general. I just don't care what people think of me, so I'm going to be me in the moment, and I don't give a shit. If they judge me for it, who cares? I'm going to continue on with my day because I know who I am. Whether or not they view me the same way that I view myself doesn't matter to me. They don't know me, I know me. That's what matters, and that's the way you should think as well. So anyway, I'm going to end the video here before I start getting into rambling territory. I feel like I've been a broken record in this video, but that helps for conveying the point. Remember, you can be vulnerable in front of women. You just have to be secure in yourself. You have to be grounded. You have to be confident. You cannot display neediness or shame because those things will bite you in the foot. And just overall, stop caring so much what people think about you, because when you do that, you can be vulnerable and you'll notice that people will think that you're tough as hell for it because they don't have the balls to do that themselves. So if you're able to do that without caring what other people think of you, without doing it for attention or any other bull crap, people will be like, whoa, this guy's an outlier. He does not care what anyone thinks of him and he's just real. He is who he is in any moment. He does not give a shit. That is powerful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please like, comment, share, and subscribe or follow, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.